People all over social media are freaking out about these new photos of Scott Disick while he was out to dinner in LA last night. You can see from this photo from TMZ, he looked very, very skinny.
All right, what is going on? So what's up? So all right, I saw this video that Sloan did, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this and see what's going on with it. Like, and maybe we could react to this together because I've talked about Ozempic on this channel when we talk about jazz and the quick weight loss and everything, and how from assessment, I personally think that there might be some assistance that way. And there's a lot of people who are using Ozempic. That's a fact. There are. So I just kind of wanted to go into it. I may not use that word too often on this episode. And so I might say the big O. Okay, I just want to put it out there because sometimes YouTube gets funny about things and I can't. But what is going on with Scott Disick? But Scott Disick wasn't fat, so I don't understand why he would be using this. Wow.
Definitely looks like drug related, in my opinion.
He is appearing very gaunt, and Kardashian fans are honestly worried about him.
I think Scott maybe needs a little pep talk. This is probably the unhealthiest I've seen him.
The Kardashians are setting up an intervention, and this time it is.
So this is Sloan talking, and I like watching Sloan. I haven't watched Sloan in a while because obviously, you know, when you're working on your own thing, it's kind of hard to watch everybody, you know, but he does put together some good stuff. And this, the big O, is like a real problem in Hollywood right now. The reason why I say it's a problem because it looks like such a fast and easy fix, which it is, but there's a lot that comes with that.
Isn't for drugs, it's not for alcohol, it's for a popular drug called Ozempic. And insiders say that Scott Disick has a sick obsession with being skinny. So let's get into it.
I can't even take that, Sloan. Okay, that bad.
And of course, more of me. Subscribe to the Let's Get Into It podcast society has created. Now, I have been worried about Scott Disick. This headline reads, Scott Disick's Ozempic obsession sparks intervention concerns. Now, I think we've heard of interventions, you know, when it comes to drug use or even like maybe eating disorders or things like that. But I haven't heard of like an Ozempic, you know, intervention. And I don't.
Those might be necessary. And we're going to get into exactly what Ozempic does that would make it. I said it was going to say the big O. That would make it, you know, necessary to have an intervention, you know?
I think that's exactly what they're trying to get at. But reports claim that Scott is using the weight loss drug Ozempic and his family plans to confront him about his health. Another report writes that Scott seemingly shed quite a bit of weight as he was seen cruising down a street with his pal Jordan Barrett. And while I think a lot of people are getting praise for becoming thinner, I mean, we even saw Oprah like do a whole, you know, speech about, you know, I guess normalizing this drug and this way of weight loss. And I'm not here to judge anyone, but I think looking at Scott Disick, people can see that, yeah, he's thinner, but he doesn't look healthier.
People all over social media are freaking out about these new photos of Scott Disick while he was out to dinner in LA last night. You can see from this photo from TMZ, he looked very, very skinny. And it doesn't look like an Ozempic type of skinny.
Yeah, I'm starting to think like this can't be like, yo, come on, are you serious? Like, is this really the big O? Like, because now I'm starting to feel like it's not, because nobody should look like that, because it looks like he's also losing blood. You know, you know, obviously from my assessment, allegedly, in my very educated opinion, the pale skin is giving me like a low blood count look. I almost feel like I would look at Scott Disick, and if I wanted to take his blood pressure, I would find it to be, this guy's looking over here like, you know, 86 over 64. And that's a problem. Okay. 120 over 70 is really where you want to live. Okay. And any lower, you know, you start passing out and weird things start happening. This is not normal, but this looks like something is sucking him dry of blood.
Definitely looks like drug related, in my opinion.
Now, I don't really like the approach of looking at Scott Disick and calling him a drug addict, because I don't really think you can make that claim despite him knowingly having issues with drugs in the past. I mean, we've even seen Scott go to rehab, open up about it on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
But I've never seen him look like that, even when he did have. And I don't think really Scott. What was the drug that Scott really had issues with? Because I don't think that he ever looked like that picture to me. And I remember because I used to watch the Kardashians like every Sunday. Like this was back in the early 2000s or like middle 2000s or whatever, like 2011, whatever. And yeah, he definitely used to, get his little drink on and stuff, right? But he never looked like that. Like that picture that we saw looked like, again, somebody who is like blood count 6.7.
Kardashians. So really, I mean, if the Ozempic is making him look this way or appear super unhealthy, that's like something he needs to talk to his doctor about.
We all know that from watching the first.
Well, even the brother next to him, like, yo, what's going on with everybody? What the fuck? Like, okay. What? Okay. Right? Okay. Let me be serious for a second. I want people to lose weight. I want to lose weight. We must live to our full potential. That is a fact. Okay. We have a lot to offer. All of us do. We all have a purpose and we all need to be here doing something. Our body is designed to work optimally at an optimum level. I wonder if I'll leave that in there. Anyway, and we can't do that if we're carrying a bunch of weight around and getting all sluggish and everything. Believe me, I am not under any illusion about that. But it cannot be like this. Whatever this is not. This isn't even from like the 90s, yo. Like there was a time in the 90s where everybody was like on this drug called, possibly allegedly, I have to say all this stuff, it's called fen, where they were like dropping weight like really quick and everybody was stick skinny or because of fen or whatever, but they didn't look dead. Wow. This is too much.
Variation of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that Scott has had substance abuse issues in the past. He is appearing very gaunt, and Kardashian fans are honestly worried about him.
An insider went on to explain,
yeah, like this is not a bad look here. Got some color. It doesn't look like it's only foundation. What the hell?
that Scott had been struggling with low self-esteem.
Definitely the Scott I used to know. This is the bull right here. This guy, let me tell you, he was rude and crass. He was terrible. Like he tried to shove money down a waiter's mouth and everything. That's nothing to be proud of. I know, but it was like around our time, it was like, oh my gosh. Like again, we weren't excited that he did that, but it's not like today where people just like cancel you over everything. It was just kind of like, wow, look at this rich bully. Like that's what it was. But wow, yeah, this is the Scott I remember. But yeah,
due to his weight gain and couldn't stand how he looked. Scott reportedly turned to the drug after struggling with his dad bod when he gained weight after his car accident, which I totally understand. Like getting into an accident, I mean, that changes your entire body. It's hard to be active like you used to be, but dad bods aren't always bad. I mean, I feel like there's a whole community that like likes the dad bod, which I'm here for. Scott started taking Ozempic because he had serious issues with weight gain. This time last year, he saw himself as fat. He had gained a lot of weight and couldn't stand seeing himself in video footage that aired in the past couple months. He would go to great lengths to cover it up. Scott wanted the easy way out of his dad bod, which honestly, if Ozempic's healthy for you and it's working for you and like you're losing the weight and the doctor says it's okay. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of long-term studies about it. This is not the medical channel. Like I'm sure there are plenty of like MD channels out there that can.
So since he just made that point, why don't we go ahead and do what we do different here on this channel. And if this is your first time here, please don't forget to hit the like button. Okay. Here we talk about everything. And we also talk about it in a psychological like assessment. And yes, I am a registered nurse. So I do have a little bit more insight to how the body works than maybe like Sloan does. And like I said, I like Sloan's channel. Why don't we go into how Ozempic works? Just real quick. I'm not going to make it boring. I promise. Ozempic for weight loss. Does it work? Blah, blah, blah. Do they recommend it? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. What is it? It's semaglutide. So there's other names for it. And the way it works is that it is assisting your body to produce more insulin. So it says Ozempic works by mimicking a naturally occurring hormone. As long as the hormones levels rise, the molecules go to your brain telling it you're full. Also keeps you from getting hungry. But they're saying that now, see, they don't talk about the part where it stimulates you to almost pee out the sugar, okay? And that is what a diabetic drug does. It causes you to pee out the sugar. They're not getting into that because they're talking about it for weight loss, so they kind of don't even really go into that. They're telling you about it in a sense for like, oh, it's going to make you feel more full. That might be an option like that. So if they're saying that's what it is, that might be a thing that happens, and maybe that's helping people, but in fact that's not how it's lowering the blood sugar simply by making people feel full. Okay, right here it says to make more insulin, right? So it helps the body to make more insulin. Okay, now, and then what happens is the insulin will have you pee out the sugar. Okay, sugar is what turns into fat. So like it's a lot of new things that we're learning, and they shouldn't have never been that new, but we'll make it real quick. Right, back in the day they would tell you like, oh, eating bacon and stuff, that's what makes you get bigger or whatever. Now I'm not telling anyone, be clear, I'm not putting anybody on a diet plan or anything like that. But what I'm saying is the part that they forgot to tell people was that sugars, that's what turns into the fat that sits on your body, right? And the carbs, bread. And if you remember the food pyramid from when I was younger, it almost feels like it was a personal attack because they were telling people to just eat a bunch of bread. I mean, the bottom layer was just bread, and it just didn't make any sense. And then when they said they changed it to my plate, it still didn't make any sense. Okay, now, no, or a bunch of bread and all that, again, that turns right into sugar and it sits on the body. And so what happens is when you go work out, you burn it and you sweat, the fat cells, like you're sweating it and then you're like peeing it out. That's how it's like coming out of your body, is like, it's becoming waste, and then you get rid of it through like your bloodstream. Okay. And so when you have something though that gives you more insulin, produces more insulin. So now you don't even have to, these people, they're not working out. So they're just producing a ridiculous amount of insulin now, and it's just pissing out, and it's happening fast. And so even if they eat something, depending on the amount that they take of the Ozempic, the big O, they're just peeing it out. They're just peeing it out. Right. The problem is that your body isn't meant to lose weight that fast, like not in that order, like not in that rapid order. And so you can get this thing where you start getting that gaunt look. You look like a ghost. A lot of people saying they're seeing muscle wasting because Scott's face looks cachectic. That's exactly what that looks like. And so if we want to go back, because I know they're going to show the face again, I mean, this looks cachectic to me. What is cachectic? Cachectic is when you start losing muscle in the face and you get this facial look. And there's people who are calling it the big O look. But that's another look, though. There's another look that looks like this. There's a look from the past, and I don't want to get all the way into that. So this is why I suspect, too, that Jazz Jennings is taking this drug, but it might be a little harder for Jazz Jennings because Jazz Jennings has a whole bunch of slew of other things. So, but I'm suspecting, so I'm not sure. But we are going to, if you guys like what I just covered, we'll talk about it some more and really look at these celebrities who have found the quote fountain of youth. Now, look, if you were just taking it for just a little bit, and like, I'm gonna take this for a month or whatever. Like, again, I am not a doctor and there's no long-term studies really to see, but I would say in and out. But this notion of we got to take you off. So what's happening to Scott is that he has another problem. Okay, so why don't we wrap it up with this, right? Because we always have to find out the root cause. What is causing the body dysmorphia that when Scott gained a little bit of weight, that he felt the need to get obsessive over this big O drug, right? Like, don't get me wrong, man. Nobody likes when they gain weight and how they look, but it is to the point for him that he has to look as gaunt as possible in order to not have to deal with that look of, maybe just being a tad bit big. And I mean a tad bit bigger, right? Again, it might be that it is a sign for him of some sort of weakness, that he's not meeting his goals, or I don't know, right? He's under a lot of pressure. Maybe he might feel like, he just might feel really empty inside. Something else is causing this. I'm not saying that you need to be big in order to be happy. Absolutely not. But this is not just, I need to lose weight. This is masking a different issue, a deep-rooted issue. And somebody better help Scott figure that out. I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.